Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to the Rah Rah Rabbit. So, I haven't really made a lot of videos over the last few years, largely just because I haven't really had the motivation, and I've wanted to focus on creating other content rather than video content. That was never really the thing that I wanted to do, to be honest. But I've been thinking more recently about coming back to YouTube or just making more videos in general, and talking more about my experiences with DID. So it's probably been nearly 2 years now since I was officially diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. Now, before I got that diagnosis, I was pretty much aware that that was what I was experiencing. I'd had a lot of strange experiences ever since I was a child, and particularly when I was around 11, 12 years old, I started to hear voices, and after a couple of years of dealing with that on my own, I finally reached out for help, but unfortunately no one could really tell me what was going on with me. I was assessed for psychosis, and I was with a team that dealt with psychosis for a long time, but the way in which my symptoms presented themselves weren't really in line with a psychotic disorder. And I was given a working diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder. I was given a leaflet on dissociative disorders, and I was discharged with no sort of follow-up care. So I just had a little leaflet with a bit of information about dissociation, and that was it. That was what I was left with. And then over the years I've tried different mental health services, and they've never been able to really help or be able to really give me much of an answer. So it was a couple of years ago that I went privately with the Pottergate Centre to sort of get assessed properly and be diagnosed officially. And it's been a bit of an odd journey. In many ways, it's kind of a relief to know that this is what I'm experiencing. You know, even if I was already aware that that was the case, I think sometimes having that clarity really helps. And, you know, as I'm sure other people with dissociative disorders know, that denial is a big thing with what we go through, and a lot of the time you doubt yourself, you doubt your experiences, you think you're making it up. You know, it's very easy to kind of just pretend nothing's happening and push it away and not deal with it. But having this kind of clarity made me realise that yes, you know, you do have this, and this is a real thing. You know, you're not making it up. You know, all these years of suffering and struggling and dealing with all these different things on your own, you weren't making it up. You weren't, you know, this is a real thing, and this is what I am living with. And I don't know, I've mentioned this in previous videos, and actually in the video where I talked about getting diagnosed officially, there's a lot of kind of shame and internalized ableism that comes along with that, particularly for me. You know, I see myself as less than, as being weak, as somehow not deserving as much as other people because of this. And I know full well that that isn't true, and I would never think that about another person, but unfortunately when it comes to me, that's just sort of how I feel. And coming to terms with that over the last few years, I don't know, I think weirdly part of me felt less maybe stigmatized when I thought it was schizophrenia or a psychotic disorder. I know that, you know, people aren't exactly accepting of those things, you know, but for some reason that still felt kind of like a more acceptable thing than DID, and probably because, you know, especially the last few years online, there's been a lot of controversial stuff around DID. You know, a lot of people don't believe that it's real. A lot of people kind of see the sorts of videos that are on TikTok and, you know, think that it's just people playing dress up or role playing, or, you know, and I don't tend to kind of watch a lot of TikTok content. Well, I mean, not DID content. I watch a lot of stupid shit on TikTok, which, you know, I think is what TikTok should be for. But yeah, I don't know. I suddenly feel like I've got this label now, which comes with its own set of issues, I guess. And now, you know, I do talk quite openly about these things. For people who've been watching my videos and follow me online, obviously, you know, this is a large part of what I talk about. But I do get scared sometimes admitting it. And I do get scared of what other people will think when I say that. Of course, a lot of that is down to how you word things as well. I find that sometimes I will just say to people, oh, I have dissociative identity disorder. And other times I will choose to just tell them what the experience is. So I'll just say, oh yeah, I have other people in my head that talk to me, or you know, I dissociate a lot, so I struggle with staying present, and you know, sometimes I'll be very forgetful and I might not quite, you know what's going on around me. You know, I might sort of explain what the experience is like rather than saying what it is, the name of the disorder. But I don't want it to be like that. You know, I'd like to be able to kind of say that yes, I have DID, and not feel like that makes me less of a person, or I don't know. Again, a lot of that is internalized ableism, and I know a lot of that is stuff that I have to work through, and I've been trying to this last couple of years. I really have. But there's a part that's, you know, accepting DID, it means accepting that you have had trauma in your life. It means kind of accepting that there are things that you might not be able to remember that happened. There's a lot of having to figure things out, which I didn't really, I don't know. So that's just kind of, you know, what I wanted to share today. Just a couple of thoughts on that. The stigma that comes with having a diagnosis or a label, and dealing with people's reactions. I don't want to feel like I have to hide this for the sake of making other people feel comfortable, because this is what I live with, and it doesn't seem right to ignore that, I guess. So anyway, I kind of think maybe I'm going off on a tangent, which tends to happen toward the end of these videos. So yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to say. I'm hoping that I will have some more video content up over the next few weeks. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And yeah, I've been Max, aka the Rara Rabbit. I'll see you in the next video.